Hi, Year 11s. I hope you've been having a wonderful holiday. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. In this video, I will be showing you how to do the last part of the holiday homework, which is finding the equation of a straight line joining 2 points. You actually covered this in Year 10, so I'm not teaching you anything new that you haven't seen before, but I do recommend that you watch this video just to refresh yourself, and also because I'm guessing many of you will have forgotten how to do this. So I'll go over it all again. And really, it's not difficult. You just need to practice. So let's get underway. We'll start by reviewing the material that we did in Head Start. So we defined this thing called the intercept slope form, which was y equals a plus bx. And we gave meaning to these two numbers a and b. We said that the number a is the intercept. If I draw a picture of the line, it's talking about the point where the line hits or intercepts the y-axis. And the coordinates of that point will be 0, a. When x equals 0, y equals a. The other number, b, is the slope. Another word for slope is gradients. And what we meant here was for every increase in x by 1, y increases by a, provided a is positive. If a is negative, then y is going to decrease. And so if we go back to the picture, every time x goes up by 1, y will go up by a. Another way of saying this is, if I have any 2 points, and I measure the ratio of the rise, which is the change in y, to the run, the change in x, that fraction is going to be a. You'd probably be more familiar with this form if I have any 2 coordinates, x1, y1, and x2, y2, then the slope, we can define it. We can say it's the change in y, that is y2 minus y1, divided by x2 minus x1, which is the change in x. Okay, this is all hopefully familiar stuff. And I should say that we don't revisit this material in year 12, and you're expected to know it. So make sure that if you're sensing that if you have any gaps on this slide, that you go over the material and get in touch with me via Teams if you need, because I'm really going to be assuming for the rest of the year that you have this and you're fluent with it. Okay, so we need to know this page before we can start finding the equation of a line through 2 points. All right, so let's begin with an example. So the standard problem in this section is I give you 2 coordinates and I ask you to find the equation of the line, and I don't give you a grid and I don't give you a picture. So the expectation is that you're able to do this just using algebra. So how do we do this? Well, let me step you through it. So the 2 points that I've given you here are 0, 3 and 5, 13. To find the equation of a line, I need to find 2 numbers, the intercept a and the slope b. Now, those of you who are observant, you'll notice a equals 3. Why? Because we defined the intercept A to be the point with coordinates 0, a. All right? So I've actually given you the intercept already here. Since when x equals 0, y equals 3. All right, so that's a key insight. You need to look for whether the intercept is given to you in the question. That's the easier case. The harder case is when the intercept is not given. So we'll start with the easier case. So we've got the intercept. Now, how do we find b? Well, we're going to need to use the formula involving y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if it helps you, you can label them. So I'll call this point x1, y1, and I'll call this point x2, y2. So the slope is going to be 13 minus 3 divided by 5 minus 0, which is 10 divided by 5, which is 2. Now, we aren't finished. I need to state the equation. I've got a and b, so I just need to write y equals a, which is 3, plus bx, and b is 2, so y equals 3 plus 2x. And now I'm done. Okay? All right, we'll do one more example where the intercept is given. So here, I'm asking you to find the equation of a line passing through -3, 18, and 0, 3. So, y equals a plus bx. Do I have the intercept? Yes. When x equals 0, y equals 3. My next step is to find the slope. So I'll label x1, y1, x2, y2, and the slope b is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now we need to be careful with signs here. x2, 0, minus x1, and x1 is -3, so it's minus -3. Okay? So, y equals 3 plus 5x. Sorry, minus 5x. It's -5. Minus 5x. So there were only 2 steps. Step 1 was to read off the intercept. Step 2 was to find the slope. Once you have the 2 numbers, the intercept and the slope, you just need to write down y equals a plus bx with the numbers a and b replaced. And you are finished. Okay, I've got 2 more examples. This time you'll notice I have not given you the intercept. We can't read it off because it's not given, so we're going to have to start this time by finding the slope. So again, I'll call the numbers x1, y1, x2, y2. The slope b is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's going to give me 24 minus 12 over 6 minus 3. 12 on 3, which is 4. Now, I've got the slope, but I don't have the intercept. To find the intercept, we're going to have to do what's called substitution. I know that when x equals 3, y equals 12. So what I can do is say twelve equals a plus b, which was 4, times x. So I think what I'll do is I'll say, yep, this is better. Okay, so let me start again. So y equals a plus bx. We calculated b equals 4. So we know that y equals a plus 4x. So I've replaced b with 4 because we calculated b. And now what I want to do is substitute x equals 3 and y equals 12 into this equation. All right. Now, if we do this, you'll notice that I have a linear equation for a. And I can rearrange this equation by performing the relevant operations. And in this case, I'm plussing 12 to a. So to isolate a by itself, I need to get rid of the plus 12. So what I'm going to do is the opposite, which is minusing 12 on both sides. And I'm left with a equals 0. So what's actually happened here is I have found y equals 0 plus 4x. And the 0 is redundant, so I can just say y equals 4x. Now, a question that I think you might be asking, if you're seeing this and it's a bit fuzzy, you might be asking, Mr. Chu, you chose x equals 3 and y equals 12. You looked at this first point here. And your question might be, could I have used this point instead, 6, 24? And the answer is yes, and I would have gotten the same answer. So let me just quickly show you. Y equals a plus 4x, and this time I'll substitute x equals 6 and y equals 24. So this time 24 equals a plus 4 times 6. 24 equals a plus 4 times 6 is 24, again giving me a equals 0. So I end up with the same answer. It doesn't matter which point I choose. I can choose the first point or the second point. As long as you do the algebra correctly, you will get the same answer. Now, in this question, just by way of final remarks, most of the time your intercept a is not going to be 0. It just turned out to be that way in this question. Let's do one more example and then we'll call it for this video. So again, I've given you 2 points. I have not given you the intercept. And our goal is to find the equation. I do recommend that you write this first line, y equals a plus bx, because that's communicating to me that you know the standard form of a linear equation and that you have an awareness that you're trying to find a and b. Now, we don't have the intercept, so we need to start by finding the slope. In this case, b is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I do recommend you write this line as well until you are very experienced and very confident with this formula. Now, you can also write a decimal as well, that's fine. Which is negative 0.5. So I'm happy for you to write that as well. Now, what did we do last time? What we had to do is start by rewriting the equation with the value of b that we found. In this case, it was negative a half. So instead of y equals a plus bx, I know something more now. I know that it's y equals a minus half x, where half is the slope. Oh, sorry, negative half is the slope, and a is the intercept. I don't know it, but I'm going to calculate it. Now, it doesn't matter which point we choose. So let's just pick the first one. It's going to make because it doesn't matter. Yeah, let's just go with the first one. And I'm seeing that the algebra is going to be easier as well. So substitute x equals minus 12 and y equals 10 to find a. Because once x and y are numbers, I'll have a linear equation for a, which I can solve. So my equation is going to be 10 equals a minus a half times negative 12. Or 10 equals a plus 6. Half times 12 is 6. And remember, if I multiply two negative numbers, I get a positive number. The inverse operation I want to do here is minus 6 on both sides. And that's going to leave me with a equals 4. And so, the equation, remember, you want to always answer the question, so give me the equation, y equals 4 minus half x. So notice this time, my intercept wasn't 0. It just turned out to be that way in the previous example because of the numbers I set up. Most of the time, a is going to be non-zero. Okay, let's summarize. If you are given the intercept, then you want to start by reading off the intercept, a, and then calculate b. However, if you are not given the intercept, so that means you don't have a point that can be written in the form 0, a, then you can't read off the intercept. So you'll need to start by finding b, and then you'll need to substitute one of the points into the equation y equals a plus bx, and then solve for a. So notice the order is different. So if you're given the intercept, then you just have to find b. If you're not given the intercept, you'll have to start by finding b first, and then you have to find a. You can't do it the other way around. So I hope that by putting it to you this way, this will be helpful. All right, some announcements, and then I'll let you go. So our first class in term 1 this year is scheduled for a Friday, unless the timetable changes. So when you come back, I will be checking your holiday homework, and I expect that if you are having trouble with the holiday homework, that you'll get in touch with me before then. I don't want you to come on the day and say, Mr. Chu, I couldn't do it. My response will be, you had all holidays to reach out. So if you're having problems with the holiday homework, get in touch with me now. Don't leave it to the last minute. While I am checking your holiday homework, I will give you a quiz on all of the holiday homework, and it's not going to be counting to your grade. It's just to see what you know. And because a lot of you did your holiday homework very early, you might have forgotten the material. So the quiz is going to help you remember or show you where your gaps are. And the second announcement is I've scheduled a test for week 3. So just note, you'll have a couple of weeks back at school. And then in the 3rd week, you'll have your first test for general maths, and this will count for your grade. If you have any questions, just get in touch with me via Teams or see me at school. Enjoy the rest of your holidays, and I look forward to seeing you soon.